Hello YouTube, Craig here, and today I'm doing another bot versus bot. I'm looking at, well, it's bot versus bot because three of them. Because I'm doing a look at three transformers which share the same mold, more or less, with very different paint schemes. And you would be forgiven for thinking it might be related to these guys, the Seekers, of which shiny Ramjet is the latest and probably last version I'll get. But in fact, I have and I'm going to do this in a dramatic voice, a trio of Trident twirlers. It was meant to be a terrific trio of Trident twirlers or a terrible trio of Trident twirlers. But three blokes that have tridents, pitchforks. They may or may have not been farmers on pre-war Cybertron. I don't know. But basically, I have Hunt for the Decepticons. I think it was Hunt for the Decepticons. One of the movie lines, Terradive. I have some other line, probably from the movies, Space Case. And I have Botcon exclusive, Botcon and Transformers Collectors Club exclusive depth charge. Now I got these from various sources. I think I bought this one online. A friend of mine sent me this. He was getting rid of it and very glad I got it. And I picked this one up at Auto Assembly. £30 this one cost me. I think the others were more or less retail. Now, I'm going to look at Terradive first because he's the original version of it. And he's the standard sort of like inspiration for them all. I mean, without this guy, you wouldn't have got Space Case, you wouldn't have got Depth Charge. So here he is, holding his trident. Now he's not Aquaman. He's not even Namor the Submariner. But his trident is very nice. Uh, it's coloured with some. It's sort of metallic purpley, and the rest is that grey movie plastic. But the staff of it is sort of gold, and as you've seen there, it clips up and down. And he's pretty nice for a movie toy. The transformation is not super tricky. It's it's doable. It's acceptable. It it's not bad once you've done it a few times and you kind of understand where things go. But there are a lot of little bits that move around and flip about and etc. Take the wings for example, and I'm not going to transform each and every one of them, but what did these disconnect and where the hell did they go? Well, they go like that, I think, because he then unpegs everywhere, and there's a lot of like, it's not fiddly, it's not overly fiddly. You'll get the hang of it if you've done a Transformers before, but it's really quite ingenious, and compared to well some of the deluxes that we've got recently, it's relatively complex and really quite fun. I I did depth charge this morning. I mean, I transformed him, and I still was having trouble remembering how to do the wings. Well, the engines. So that's basically the back of him. You flip this bit round. Now the front of the plane is the most ingenious and also the most confusing thing ever. I'm never 100% sure that I'm doing it the way it's meant to be done, but I always make sure that I get it done. It's quite good in that the transformation has a lot of different ways it can go, including the swings, which that's the bot mode version, right? Yes, this is more like what I would expect for the vehicle mode. So you unpeg his wings from his leg, and you flip them round, and then you kind of peg them in again. I already done that one. That's why it wasn't right, because I'd done one, not the other one, and I wasn't paying attention to which one I'd done. Okay. But these are like they're not overly complicated. The first couple of times you do them, and if you've not done them in a while, or if you have done them recently, you're just not paying a full attention to them because you're maybe doing a review, you will get a little bit lost. I assume that these can go down now. And then the whole front kind of flips round like that and then slides back up. Now he's got landing gear on his legs and on his nose cone, I suppose it is, his torso, his belly. And this guy, he looks pretty nice like that. He's a little black and orange and white. He's done the United colours, I suppose. Um, there's something else he's the colour of, but I can't remember. But yeah, you can flip down the little landing gear, and there he is. The Trident, it does peg in to itself, first of all. The little peg on the end of the thing folds, when it folds up, it goes in there. And it also pegs into this bit here, this little clip, and this little clip here. So you can have it hidden away, stored under the vehicle mode. I actually have depth charges one the other way around because I pegged the weapon in the wrong way. So this guy, pretty cool. He's kind of got the G-Axis colors from the Robots in Disguise version of him. It might have been something after that, but it was that idea. It was that sort of era. Now Space Case, he's a different head. It's still quite movie-ish. It's less detailed, I would suppose, but it is made of almost entirely translucent plastic. Although the blue is sort of smoky. You maybe see it better on the wings. It's there, and you can probably see my finger through it. But it's not completely see-through. It's not like the light piping yellow. And Space Case, well, he looks pretty different, just like that. I mean, all of them have this skeletal legs and skinny arms, but they've got enough beef just given by the bits on the side there and the hands, and the fact that you can turn the hands into a little jet thruster whilst you've got him in robot mode, and it's sort of a little blaster. Pretty cool. Um, you see he's got all this paint details on stuff on here. I will try and transform him very quickly. Now that I've done one of them, it should be not too bad. Because this guy's alt mode really does deserve to be seen. Um, I always forget how to do the arms on this. And that's kind of a part of a good transformation, I suppose, because it really, I mean, yes, clearly from the way the hands fold in, these bits do become these bits, but it just doesn't immediately jump out to you as being, oh, that bit becomes that bit, which is really, I quite like. It's not overly simplistic. It's simplistic enough that you certainly can get the hang of it easy enough once you've done it a few times. But there's kind of a lot going on, and I do appreciate that. I could go through each and individual sort of tiny little part of the transformation, but honestly, if you really wanted to do that, you'd probably buy it yourself. And right now, I just want to have a look at the different versions of him, see how each one varies. And you can have him staying like that if you're kind of masochistic, just to say that he's some kind of messed up plane. Um, the cockpit is sort of crazy. It flips round and it flips round again, and it's not completely attached until it's like fixed in either way. This guy has little powdered blue sort of landing gear. Cornflower blue? I don't know. He has blue landing gear. And the majority of him is that smoky, translucent-y plastic. And he's got little Cybertronian tattoos and stuff on him, as well as a really cool Decepticon logo with like lightning strikes coming out of it. And he's actually more plain like this. When I first got him, I thought, oh, he's going to be bonkers in robot mode. But these bitties and most of the red and most of the white all get hidden underneath the bot, well, underneath the jet in jet mode. But you can see it is the same alt mode. It's just completely different depending on which version of it you've got. And then depth charge takes it up another level just by virtue of being like a very, very strong turquoise and bright yellow, as you might have seen on the Circuit Club exclusive. He's got some lovely translucent pink purple there. Very sort of G2 reminiscent. Um, this guy came in the same Botcon set, although it wasn't actually the Botcon set, he was just a holdover. But came in the same sort of time as the generation, not even generation 2, they were Robot Masters Botcon set. No, Machine Wars Botcon set. And you know what? That like late G1, early G2 stuff, they like their translucent plastic, like the light piping on this guy, which is it's difficult to see sometimes, but sometimes it does show up very nicely. The one thing I've noticed with this one is that it does have a little bit of trouble with everything pegging together. It does it, but it doesn't like to do it perhaps as much as the other versions of the mold. These arms especially feel, I don't know if it's the plastic getting used or if it's the fact that the mold has been used a few times already. And I'm not even going to do this arm because I can't be bothered, but it is somewhat more fragile feeling. First time I got this guy out of the package, and it was just in a box, just in a bag rather. Didn't get the exclusive one from the club or the carded one from the Botcon set. But once he comes out, he does feel, and he did seem to me to be a little bit less quality than lower quality, less higher, lower quality than the other two. But honestly, once you transform him, any thoughts of that go out of your mind because it's just badass depth charge. No longer is he a big fat guy that fires little yellow pizzas out of him. He is in fact now a skinny badass skeleton guy with pink legs and some light piping and a trident. A lot of you guys have probably watched Beast Wars. I'm not even going to go through the articulation, but he does have a wrist swivel, so he can hold this in a number of poses. If I had the hands out there, I could hold them in two hands, but I don't. Um, yeah, it's a really good mold, and I think this is probably my favourite version of it, partly because I like the character, and partly just because the colours of it. Terradive, he's a little bit out there, but you know, he's all solid colours and black and white with a little bit orange. It's fairly standard. Space Case, translucent. He's got some weird markings on him. He looks a little bit like he's been taken over by a 40k orc. And he's got his tattoos everywhere. Very nice. Very different. The white and red on the body mode don't make him look like a Decepticon. They do harken back to the Space Case, was it G2, late G1, repaint. Well, repaint, color scheme. But this guy, it's the proud, bright, solid yellow, the turquoise, and then the pink. And he's got little gold accents on his legs there, silver and gold on his top, and a little bit a gold goatee on his face. But look at that on the wings. It's really nice. The yellow really strong stands out, and the pink, it's strong at the bottom, and then it sort of fades as it gets out towards the edge. After having a play about with the other two, I sort of appreciate this guy a bit more. Some of the plastic still doesn't necessarily feel quite as strong or quite as quality. Um, I'm guessing that this one was a Botcon one that possibly they rushed out. They just did a load of them. Were like, just throw them in a bag. I'm not too bothered if that's the case because it does work really nicely for me. And I imagine for those of you that have the TFCC Rampage Protoform X, whatever he's called, the two of them would make a really nice pair. I can see these working together really well. That's him with both his hands out. He's ready to do some trident and he's ready to do some gardening in the, or pick up some noodles. It's kind of like a pot noodle fork. I don't know if anyone else got one of those, but it's kind of like that. He's got a little Maxima logo. You probably couldn't hear that. He's got a little Maxima logo on there. Yeah, lovely color schemes on all of them. Great toy. I mean, it's a full standout of movie toys that are great that weren't in the movie. It's a perfect example of that, and long may it continue. Although Doesn't look like there's that many in the new Age of Extinction stuff. But I've got a lot that I've yet to get, and that might be something to look for because I do love me some of these non-movie bots, if you understand what I'm saying. It's like action masters, which pretty much would be the only way that I could imagine liking a version of this mold more. It would be if they would make one that was an action master character that wasn't. Although that might be the TFCC uh, paint and plastic colours from Circuit coming across here. Anyway, if you can get a chance to pick up one of these, I would recommend it because just hit myself in the face. I would recommend it because they are very cool, and each one has its own thing going for it in terms of color scheme. Uh, each one even has like okay, this guy's a different head. This guy's a homage to a Beast Wars character. This guy's just he's orange. So each one has their own thing going on. They all feel more or less like different characters because although they are recolors, they're not just a straight palette swap. Not any of them. Each one brings up new different pieces of the mold, which is really cool, and I do like that about it. Um, yeah, I probably like this guy best. That might be because I paid most for him, um, but these guys are pretty badass as well. If you can, go get them, pick them up, have a look, see what they're like. You get one of them cheap, and then see if you decide if you like the look of the rest of them.